In this video, I'm going to show you guys why Apollo sucks for cold outbound lead generation and how to supplement it to make it an effective tool for your sales organization. A little background on me. My name is John Tanner. I'm a specialist in outbound sales, and I've generated 7 figures in top of funnel pipeline on behalf of my clients. I release these videos completely for free with the goal of helping business owners like yourself get your business to where it's profitable enough to bring me and my team on to supercharge your sales. So for this example, I've went ahead and ran a search here of Apollo. We've got some different job titles, we've got certain locations and some different employees just to give us an example list that we can work with. We've got 14,200 leads. If you've ever used Apollo before, you know that you can only export up to 1,000 leads per month before you start paying very high premiums on every additional lead. That's the first problem with Apollo. Their premiums are so high that a lot of times it can make it ineffective to build out an outbound program because you're spending so much money on just the leads themselves, which may not even respond to your outreach. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find a way, well, how do we get these leads cheaper so it actually makes sense to build out our program? For this, I use a third-party tool called Export Apollo Lead Scraper. You can find it at app.exportapollo.com. And in here, we can simply plug in a search link that we did on Apollo, and we can tell it how many leads we want. So for this example, I'm going to put in 15,000. We're going to give it a name, and we're going to go ahead and press scrape. Within about 30 minutes, you're going to get your list back, and you'll be able to view that here in your history. And here we have our list where I can go ahead and click download. Now this is going to open it in Google Drive. I can go ahead and just save it as a CSV, and then we can go into our next part, which is how do we actually verify that this data is good and begin to enrich it with data that's missing. So we've got our list here with all of our fields from Apollo. Now we're going to go into Clay. Clay is a tool that allows us to enrich data, and I'll show you guys a little bit about how that works. So here we are in our Clay dashboard. We're going to click Create New Table, and then we're going to scroll down and click Import People from CSV, Browse Files, and we're going to select our list. This is a very big list, and it'll take a few minutes to import, so I actually already did that beforehand. And we can see here our list. So we've got all of our columns from Apollo: first name, last name, full name, job title, and on and on and on. And here are our emails. So the first thing that may stick out to you is that a lot of these emails are missing. If we actually run a filter on the email to exclude the columns where they're missing, we can see that we only have about 8,100. So 35% of our contacts don't even have an email address. So that's the first problem. So I'll go ahead and clear that filter, and we'll see how do we actually address this. Well, before we actually go into finding the missing emails, the first thing I want to do is look at the emails that are already existing. And I want to see, are these emails actually valid? So we're going to plug in with a validation provider. I'm going to go ahead and click here on the email, insert right, add enrichment, and I'm going to go ahead and type in zero bounce. There's a lot of validation tools you can use. Zero bounce is one I like. It's very affordable, and it works really well. And I'm going to tell it the input that I actually want to check is our email column. So here we can see all of our emails. And then I say I only want safe to send emails. But I don't actually want to run this on every one because you can see we don't need to validate these ones that are missing. So I'm going to go ahead and create a formula. Only run if. Now, I don't know how to write code. I'm not super technical. So I'm going to click Use AI. And I'm going to say I want the column to only run if email is not empty. Then I'll go ahead and click Generate Formula. And now it's going to go ahead and create a formula for me. And it's going to say, does this look right? So this email, this is what's present in the email column, and this is what we'll do. So it's present, we'll run. It's not present, we won't run. It's present, we'll run. Okay, this looks good. Output is correct. Save formula. Now the output I want to get is this email valid or not? So I'll just go ahead and click Save and run 10 rows. Go ahead and move this down. And we can see here that 3 of the emails were valid, 2 were invalid, and 5 were missing. So only 30% of the leads we got were actually valid. Now, believe it or not, that's pretty standard for Apollo. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, how do we find those missing emails? So we know these ones are valid. I'm going to click that column and insert right, and I'm going to add an enrichment. And I'm going to say I want to find the work email. So I'll go ahead and click here on work email. And then what we're going to do is we're going to find data with the following providers. So these are basically the default stack that you're going to want to use to check for emails. I typically like to remove People Data Labs because that's more around personal email addresses, and we want work email addresses. So basically what's going to happen is it's going to try this database to try to find their email. Then it's going to try the next one and the next one and the next one until it finds it ultimately. And the input that it needs is the person's full name. So we'll go ahead and insert that column. See a preview here that looks to appear to be the right column. Then the company domain. Okay, that also looks like the right column, so that's good. And then we're also going to validate those emails again to make sure that the ones we get out of those providers are valid, just like we did with Apollo. Then we're going to create another formula here, and we only want the column to run if we don't already have a valid email, because remember, 3 of them were already valid, so there's no point in enriching ones that we already have. So we're going to say I want the column to only run if status, which is where we got our valid or not valid output, is not equal to valid. Now I'll go ahead and generate my formula. We've got it below, and now we can see here valid is not going to run, valid is not going to run, valid's not going to run, all the other ones will. Looks right, so I'll save my formula. And now I'm going to save and run 10 rows. And we'll get an idea here now of what this looks like. So let me just throw myself up here in the top left corner. And now we can see all these providers getting to work. So it's going to run from left to right. It's going to check find email first. And then if it doesn't find the email, it's going to start to check these other providers. So we can see we've already found 2 of those missing email addresses. And right here where it says run condition not met, remember that's the formula we ran. So this email was already valid. So we don't need to enrich it. But these ones where it's not valid, we do need to enrich it. So here we can see didn't find it in find email. So now it's going to go to the next one. It's going to search lead magic. Okay, didn't find it there. So we're going to search the next one, Prospeo. And we're going to keep searching until we either reach the end of the waterfall or we find the valid email address. So you can see this one found it in the 3rd database. This one found it in the 4th database. And now we're starting to get a lot more of these emails here. So I'll just go ahead and let this run for another 30 seconds or so, and then I'll be right back. All right, so that's done running now. We were able to find 3 additional email addresses above and beyond what we originally had. And now we need to get all of those emails into one centralized column. So they're kind of segregated. Here we have 3 from the enrichment, and here we have 3 of the valid ones, but they're kind of mixed in with the dirty ones. How do we get all of them into a clean column where we can easily import them into our CRM, whether that's HubSpot or Instantly or whatever tool we're doing outreach from? So we're going to go ahead and click on this last column. We're going to insert right, and we're going to click merge columns. And now what this is going to allow us to do is going to select different columns where we want to grab the data from. And so the first one we want to grab are these emails, but only the ones that are valid. So they're not in different columns, so we're going to have to give it a formula to tell it how to do that. I'm going to go ahead and click use AI again, and I'm going to say output our original email column only if this original status we got back is valid. So I'll go ahead and click generate formula, and it's going to show us if this is right. So we can see this status is catch-all, not valid, so it shouldn't output. And these 2 are valid, so they should output. And as we can see, that's exactly what it's doing. And then the 3rd email valid, also outputting, and the catch-all is not outputting. So we'll say save formula. Then what we're going to do is we're going to import our 2nd provider here. So validated work email. And then we're going to click save settings. And now we've got 8 emails. Now that's really good, 80% find rate. Before, we only had 3 that were originally valid, the rest were missing or invalid, and now we had 5 more that we were able to find, bringing our data quality down from 30% all the way up to 80%. Now if I wanted to, I could easily run, go ahead to this and just click run, and it'll run on all the columns, and then the same thing for work email, and bring my data quality. Typically on average what you'll see is you'll go from about 30 to 35%, I know it's low with Apollo, all the way up to 65 to 70%. That's a really good output to see. And now you're able to basically double the amount of leads that you have to reach out to. Now, this list I actually ran for a client, and we were able to generate 20 interested leads every 10 days just off of cold email by utilizing AI and all the data points we have about every single lead to write hyper-personalized emails at scale for a very, very affordable cost. If you're interested in seeing that, I'll go ahead and put a link to that either up in the corner or down in the description, and you can take a look at that. But I hope this guy was helpful for you guys. If there's anything else you guys are looking to learn about outbound sales, just go ahead and post a comment down below, and whichever one seems to have the most likes, I'll go ahead and make a video for that one next. Bye, guys.